Hello, hello. Now we are live. Now you can hear me. I am with Sacred Blue Heron Woman from Indianola, Oklahoma. I'm Julian Catari in Jalapa, Veracruz, Mexico. This is the 75th I Need Living Conversation. This is a show we do every week live. We talk for about an hour about sovereignty, about wholeness, about freedom, and about Aloha Aini Dao living, this amazing project of coming together into a new humanity, coming together to live in wholesome freedom. And this time, in this show, we are going to talk about the art of crafting yourself. So that was the title I was given. That was the idea. I have no knowledge of what exciting content Sacred Blue Heron Woman is going to tell us about, but I will say that when I shared the poster or the announcement of this show, some people commented that finally we were going to do this talk. Finally, this was coming. That they really liked the idea. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. They like the idea. The science of being and becoming. So that sounds very interesting. And well, I want to welcome our light leader, light as in light, not as in lightweight. our guide, Sacred Blue Heron Woman. How are you?
I am fabulous as usual.
Thanks, thank you. So tell us what is the sacred science of being and becoming? That's
Well, so a great question that has been asked by humanity for ages and ages is there a God?
okay.
And we want irrefutable proof of the existence of him, right? As we've been taught that God is male. So scientists have investigated the matter and solved the problem quite nobly.
Oh,
Through
really?
scientific investigation, it was discovered that there is a void. And in this void, there is an energy, a universal life force, a primal energy pervading the whole universe, filling infinite space. And this primal energy force is self aware, it is thinking. And it is not a single phenomenon, it is multiplicitous. For intelligence cannot arise from the absence of intelligence, nor can variety arise from uniformity.
Okay.
Um, the Chinese know this primal energy as force as the Tao, or the Polynesians, Hawaiians know it as the Aumakua. Science calls it the ultimate principle, the creative influence.
Okay.
So the void, or a more accurate term for it would be mysteries, is not an object, it's a period. It consists of events, and the events that transpire, they have neither beginning nor end. They simply are always and everywhere, these events. These events have names or intelligences, locations, processes, and actions. So you are not Julian Katari, that is your name. You are an event in the universal field, in the life force. You're a location and a container and an event happening.
Mhm.
So am I. So are all of us. So as the multi-intelligences think in relationship context, ritual magic operates. What changes and transformation occur are simply vast energy intelligence fields doing what they do, doing it in concert, in harmony, and in significance. So the fundamental order of the universe is ritual, magical, transformative, and its endurance, because change is a basic characteristic of thinking. Further, relationship and thinking are basic characteristics of change. So you might say that magic, ritual magic, is a three-way street, a three-legged process, a journey on a three-pronged road. And that three-part structure is eternal and infinite. So science nobly discovered what our ancient ancestors knew by intuition, that there is a divinity, there is a God. And they labeled it, they replaced the divinity God with the word principle. So now the scientific definition of the word principle is that which creates, constitutes, governs, sustains, and contains all. So let's talk about this first concept, creation. The word principle, the great principle, is that which creates. So Spider Grandmother, the major deity of the Keris Indians, is a weaver and a thinker. She thinks, therefore we are. Though she is supreme, she's not alone, because there isn't an only, and there isn't a beginning. So Spider Grandma, also known by the Mayans as Ishmukene, I love that word, it's fun to say, so we're going to call Spider Grandma, Spider Woman, Shmukene, Ishmukene from now
Okay.
on. She is a great goddess whose medicine power is so vast, so complete, and focused that she brings ideas and thoughts into being. She's akin to the wind. It has been said that she's the wind's grandmother because she makes movement, and from movement all else derives. She's a weaver of life. She and her cohorts create and recreate the cosmos, giving shape, form, and meaning to all that is. So long ago, Spider Grandmother, Spider Woman, Ishmukene, was in the place where only she could be. She was the period, right? There was no light or dark. There was no warm wind, no rain, no thunder. There was no cold, no ice, no snow. There was only Spider Woman, Ishmukene. She was a great wise woman whose essence powers the day. So in the Tao Te Ching, the day is a virtue that once you've come into alignment with the void is a realizing power, essence of making things real. So her power, her essence, her day is complete and total. It is pure and cleaner than the void. It is the power of thought, although not the kind of thought we humans do all the time. It is the power of dream, although more pure. It's like the spirit of vision, although more clear. It has no shape or movement because it just is. It is the power that creates all that is, and is the essence or power of all that is. So in that place where she was alone and complete with her power, her essence, her day, she thought about her power, her essence, how it sang to her, how she dreamed from it, how she wished to have someone to share the song dream with her. Not because she was lonely, but because the power's song or the essence's song was so complete, she wished for there to be others who could know it also. She knew that this was the essence's wish, just as it was hers, for she and her essence were together and of one mind. They were two, but they were the same thing. So she thought to the essence once more and knew a rippling, a wrinkling within. Then she knew that she was old and wrinkled, and that this essence's first song was a song of great age. The wrinkling became tighter, more spidery, stronger. It became her cohort, and she named this cohort Nukua. She knew the wrinkling had folded up on itself and folded in itself, and she knew that much of the universe, the great power, was contained in the unfolding. And later, the earth would be ripples and wrinkles, spidery lines of power, fold it and enfold it into a tight moving shape. And it would also hold the great power within, the great essence within, like a mother holds new life. Others would also imitate this time, like walnuts, acorns, apples, pineapples, cactuses, mountains, even the oceans, and humans, the five-fingered beings, would grow wrinkled in their brains and skin in honor of this time when she and the essence, the day power, made a song to form new life, new beings. She was so happy with what she knew, so full of awe at the beauty of the song that she thought again and again. She knew the rippling, the wrinkling, the running of spidery lines along the edges of the forming pouch of the essence's song, the folding and enfolding into a shape that had some of the power of all that is within. She knew that the place of that pouch, the bundle of her thought, her song, was another cohort. So humming and singing, she shaped them. Humming and singing, she placed them where they belong. She thought in her essence her power to each of the bundles and continued singing. She sang and sang. She sang the essence that was her heart, the movement that is the multiverse and its dancing, the essence, the power that is everywhere and has no name or body, and that is just the essence, the mystery. She sang, and the bundles began to move. They began to sing, to echo her song, to join it. They sang their heart song. That was the same as Ishmukane's heart song, but yet it was their own. That was the heart song of the great mystery, the power that moves, the essence, the day. The song seemed to deepen as she heard other hearts singing. The song seemed more free, it seemed stronger. The two who rose up from the bundles with their singing each had a bundle of their own, and in each bundle the life of the universe rested, waiting until it was sung into life. Ishmukane named these two beings, Nukua and Marama. These beings were not human beings, but supernatural forms or beings. They did not have physical bodies because they were much vaster than a planet and even a star. A star couldn't contain all they knew and all they thought. So Ishmukane, Spider Woman, told them, each of them, that they were to make more beings so that the song could go on, so that she and the essence could share the beauty with more and more beings. She told them that they would take from their pouches a part of the song that would sing it into fullness, into rightness. They would need to sing the mystery in a way of thought to bring the lives in their bundles into being. They understood her directions because they were the song and the mystery. They were the song and the essence. All of it and only a small piece of it. It was much faster than they, and yet they could sing it into different shapes of being, different ways of singing, different parts of the great being song, the great essence song. And there's three essences that come from these three, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So Nukua began to sing a new chant. Away, Ohio, away, Ohio, away, Ohio. She sang and sang, thinking to her bundle, and around them as she sang, whirling globes of light began to form. They began pushing outward in a great whirling spiral, a great wheeling multitude of stars, all singing as they circled and wheeled like great geese upon the void. As they spiraled outward, they grew larger and brighter, around and around the still invisible centers where they sang. As they whirled, the outer ones, flinging themselves further and further from the center, great arms forming in the spiral dance, following the lines of the song, the lines of essence, of power, reaching out the lines of the essence, the essential nurturing love power, the essential nurturing munai power, the essential nurturing peace power, the essential nurturing pleasure power. Carrying the song into their light in their fingers, making both the darkness and the light as they danced, finding the power coming to them from the darkness, flinging it out from them into the light. The power essences danced in the void, in the light, in the midnight reaches of the gleaming dark, it sang. Then Marama began to sing, her thought to her bundle, hum, hum. Right? The song changed again as Ishmukane and Nukua joined her song, and from the brilliant globes of light, new shapes spun out. The sacred twin brothers, named Whirlwind Man and Lightning Man, also spun out, dancing around and around the lights, giving shape and solidity to the darkness, carrying the spin of the song into new places, more solid, more full. Whirlwind Man and Lightning Man remind us that the masculine yang expression of multiversal energy intelligence is a movement of polarity, not of oppositional nature. And so the planet sang, new beings awakening, joining their hearts and minds to the huge chorus, singing their parts of the heart songs of essential nurturing love, essential nurturing peace, essential nurturing pleasure. The power shaped and dipped and wheeled and danced, and over vast reaches it took on forms it hadn't known. Satisfied with her work, Ishmukene turned to her granddaughters and smiled as she chanted. In their begetting, they would make many worlds, and upon some of them human beings, five-fingered beings, would sing in the same way as she and her granddaughter sang. On those same worlds, feathered beings would swoop and whirl as the great fires around her did. And on them, life would press its way from the place of the point, the period of Spider Woman Ishmukene singing, into the place of individual songs, and that it would be far away from the place where the three, with their twins, expressions of the tripartite process of change were. But yet it would be right among them as they stood and sang in the void, surrounded by the wheeling lights and the great swooping dark. So as Nukua and Marama kept singing their heart songs with the penetrative power of the twin brothers, Whirlwind Man and Lightning Man, new shapes sprung out, and they named one of them Milky Way, and they shaped her as an eye. And as she, Milky Way, came to life and started feeling her heart song and started singing, she felt the wrinkling, the gathering of enormous amounts of hydrogen. And as the molecules gathered and whirled, our grandfather, elder brother, son was awakened. And as he began singing to his bundle, our solar system was awakened into life. As the planets and constellation of our solar system were dancing in the void, singing their heart song as part of the great mystery, till they felt the wrinkling, the unfolding, and their Mother Earth was born. All are still dancing and singing their heart song, the songs of essential nurturing Munai, essential nurturing peace, essential nurturing pleasure, as part of the great mysteries, the great principle. So for as long as there have been humans on Earth, there has always been news of the birthplace of the universe showering us both day and night. It's like a central facet of our human existence to have the truth right in front of us and yet not be able to see it or recognize it. In the case of the origin of the cosmos, the news is carried by streams of light, photons, and these particles have been here since Ishmukene started singing. The problem is that the photons are too dim to be seen with an unassisted human eye, and we haven't tuned ourselves to the heart song of Ishmukene's essences for centuries now. So we have been wandering around, bathed in the news of the origin of the universe, unable to respond to what has literally been right here in front of us. By learning the ways of the universe, the cosmos, tuning into Ishmukene's heart song, Nukua's heart song, Marama's heart song, along with Whirlwind Man and Lightning Man, we are taking the first steps in remembering essential nurturing Munai, essential nurturing peace, essential nurturing pleasure, happiness. And that's it for tonight.
Wow. But okay. So this is like a creation story that you have written, right?
I gathered it. It started with a Keris Indian story that just to me sang and sang and sang, and I brought more characters into it. I brought Nukua is a Chinese goddess, Marama is a Hawaiian goddess, and just in listening, felt like we needed because of the golden spiral. It goes from 1 + 1 + 1 + 2 = 5. We needed the two male, the twin brothers, and the twin brothers are ripe in every Indian, every Mayan story. There's the twin brothers, but I was taking this. All these stories are for our level. for our Earth system. And I
Yeah.
wanted to take it beyond, into the great beyond, and then bring it down like I did into the Milky Way, then into our solar system.
Right. So it's this gives me great thought. We wouldn't be able to speak everything we can speak about what this means and how important this having this information, having this a creation story, having and doing this weaving. Maybe when I said this is something you wrote, that wasn't accurate, because at the same time it's something you wove from other things. It's more complete than just writing it.
Right.
And I think it's also more, today I was looking at this it came up to me, this article about 40 different cults that were bizarre, right? So I started looking at them, right? Each one of them, the ones that didn't have enough information about them, I would go up and research more about them. I looked at all 40 of them. One of the things I found they have in common is leadership, right? They all have kind of like a leader, right? And then the other thing they have in common, the fact why they're called bizarre, it's because they're small groups of people that are believing in something, and they're not part of the a greater whole, and the sense of it's like, and to me it's like capitalism is the whole, right? Or in the sense of,
yeah,
that's what everybody's cult is, right?
yes.
So these people want to get out of that, and maybe they want to approach something that they feel is more loving, or is more spiritual, or is more congruent. Many of them have this thing where they would actually go out and live and try to make a self-sustainable life out of the system. Many others are just crazy things, right? That some people started. But then I started, and then this other thing comes to mind. This conversation between these two people, and this guy's telling him, do you difference between believing and knowing, right? So this is relevant because we would think that we need to believe in something, but in reality we need to start knowing all of this. And it's kind of tough because we've been so impregnated by this mindset that says to us, I mean, if it's not the religious mindset, it's the what we see on TV and what we see in schools, what we're taught in schools, and in universities, is this: there is no sake. That's all belief. The real world is without belief and without sacred. But then that's wrong, and that's what you started with in today's conversation, saying this is a knowledge about the sacred, and science. You said it's the first thing. The science knows about this as a way of describing this. So are we going to, I mean, I want anybody that's watching this, are we going to just continue on our lives, or are we going to realize and accept that there is a sacred, that there is this principle, and that ancient cultures have known about it and have built the culture around that, and with true, honest intent. Thing is, this culture we've been living, this modern globalized culture, this what do you call it, the colonizing patriarchy
Christian
virus.
mercantilism. Colonizing patriarchal Christian mercantilism.
There you go. So that thing that's what has conquered, I mean, the world, and that's what has built our mindsets. And that
for thousands of years, it's a cellular memory now.
And that its intent, the way I see it, is its purpose is to control, to dominate, to trick you, right? To lie to you,
separate, to cause fragmentation, to cause addiction, yeah.
So it's like bad intention based, right? So you can't really interpret a realm, which is the real realm, from the mindset of bad intention. You really do have to kind of,
or mechanistic intention, because that's the other part. Is it's the colonizing patriarchal Christian mercantilism is a mechanistic system. Totally, it's built on mechanism only.
right.
No life.
There you see. So no life, but maybe it's one of the things I try to pass by to people, and they can't see it. I mean, they're so stuck on the mechanicism. So even their way of thinking about things is mechanistic. Even if they consider themselves spiritual, when I challenge them with these kind of thoughts and the fact that, hey, are you going to continue being a slave, or are you going to do something about it? It sounds like I'm being I'm believing. It sounds like I'm the one that's believing, and like it's being fanatic, right? Because the status quo, or the normal way of being is this mechanistic way of living that just doesn't have a purpose. It doesn't have a direction. It doesn't have a goal. It's just, I was thinking today, it's more of we're convinced that living is more valuable than anything, but in fact, having a soul is what's valuable.
We're convinced that making a living, but we're not actually living. When we're making a living, we're not actually living. And
that's exactly
human, that man-made concept of making a living deprives us. It dries our soul up. It separates us from our soul.
Right.
So
and so then you would wonder, is the math equation going to be the thing that's going to bring you into knowledge of the principle of the truth that is knowable? Maybe it's not describable with mechanistic terms, but is somehow knowable, or it's somehow you can tell a story about it, and we can, like you did, channel and tell a story about it, and that's a way to know it, and that's why this is important. That's why having this story is important. So what I want to know now is what, for someone that would want to read this, where is it going to be? This
it's
story?
it's It's not. It might become available for a short time on the website, but just for a short time, just for a very short time. And then to know more, you must become part of the matriculation halal. It's just that we might offer it as a tantalizing download for a week or two at various times during the year. Maybe we'll see. But I forgot we started at 6:30, not 6. So let's go a little bit further into creation.
Okay.
Cosmology. So we humans have been at the task of cosmology for a very long time. The enterprise of cosmology, which is the exploration of the origin, development, and destiny of the universe, has been with us since the beginning, since Ishmukene started singing, right? Most spectacularly, we have the cave paintings where our ancestors gathered in caves for their ceremonies and reflections of the starry skies. None of the other animals of the world needs to engage in such reflections. They enter life knowing their basic relationships and what their proper place and function is in the world. All except we humans know their proper place in the world, but we humans require a cultural orientation. We're not given a fixed and final form to our orientation of life, so we must discover and deepen and craft this orientation through the process of psychic development. It's not because we have no answers to what does it mean to be human in the universe that gives us the desire to stop and wonder about the universe in order to sort out our fruitful relationships. It's because we have so many damn different answers of what does it mean to be a human. So conceivably, for as long as 300,000 years, humans have huddled together in the night to ponder and celebrate the mysteries of the universe in order to find their way through this great world we inhabit. No matter what continent humans have lived on, no matter what culture, no matter what era, the work of cosmology took place every year and every month and even every day around the fires of the African plains, in the caves of the Eurasian forests, under the brilliant night sky of the Australian landmass, in the longhouses and wickiups of the North American, and in the pyramids of the Mayans, the Incans, you can add to that, right? There our ancestors told the stories, the sacred stories of how the world came to be, of what the human brings into the universe, and of what it takes to live a noble life within the great holy that is the universe. Saying that every culture did this is really not entirely true, because we contemporary humans do not. Questions of ultimate meaning and value are dealt with not in caves or on the open plains, but in churches, mosques, and temples. Here, each weekend, billions of us gather to reflect on our relationship with the divine. In all this diversity, only rarely will we find serious contemplation of these primal questions within the context of the actual universe, a universe of stars, topsoil, amphibians, wetlands, and more. Certainly in the various scriptures, there are powerful uses of words such as sky, water, rain, and these are unfortunately employed in a symbolic sense rather than a literal sense. For instance, in the church, water might be used as a sign of the saving action of God as a baptism, while it is not used to point to the hydrology of the Mississippi River. For us, the Mississippi River and God do not intersect. That's just because it's a mechanistic world. That's just a simple fact of life. The Mississippi River or any other river and God did not intersect. And that's erroneous, right? We do not worship or contemplate in the context of the universe, a context that includes the species diversity of the Appalachian Mountains, the development of enveloping ecosystems, the intricate processes of your body, your embryology, or the stellar dynamics of Ishmukene singing medicine bundles into life that gave birth to our planet. So the earliest cosmologies we know regarded our Earth as the center of the cosmos, right? However, in 1543, Nicholas Copernicus announced that the sun was the center of the world. He provided a book with his announcement, and the book provided a way to understand that the sun was the center around which the planets moved. For naive human consciousness still today, the Earth seems to be the most stable place in the universe. It is here seemingly standing still year after year while the seasons come and go, and the stars, planets, sun, and moon whirl around us. The heavenly bodies dangle in transparent concentric webs that turn around a spindle like a spindle whirl, and each web possesses a siren who sings her particular note, creating the mystical music of the webs of life. But we don't understand this. We just think, whatever, it's just all up there. We're totally separate from it. So though all of us now accept the fact that our Earth moves around the sun, this truth has been actually not appropriate in a bodily way. And there's a small segment of the population of humanity that appropriates this in a bodily way. We all watch the sun push down and then drop below the dark, unmoving horizon. When asked what we were doing, we might reply, well, I was watching the sun go down. And if we're asked to explain that, we might say, well, the Earth is spinning, so it just appears that the sun is going down. Yeah. Well, so let's focus on the experience of a sunset. Our Earth rotates away from grandfather sun. So when Venus is in her evening star cycle, which she is currently, go out about 30 minutes before sunset and find her. She'll be low on the horizon. Begin focusing attention on her and review that she is 65 trillion miles from the sun, or 1/3 closer than my Earth, than your Earth, to the sun. And understand that Venus, and maybe Jupiter is present, which he is right now, or grandmother moon and Earth, or all four of us are moving in a single plane around the sun. So simply by focusing on the experience and viewing it through the whole form of your solar system, there comes a moment when you might actually feel Mother Earth slowly turning away from grandfather sun. You might feel the immensity of her as she rolls away from grandfather sun at dusk, at dawn, and rolls toward him at sun up, at dawn. So as you lean into or learn to feel directly the immensity of your Earth rotating away from grandfather sun, you can start to feel her swinging around grandfather sun. Though we say the Earth revolves around the sun, the truth is slightly different. Grandfather sun is also moving. He doesn't move anywhere near as much as our Earth does because he is so much heavier. He does, however, move in a circle as both he and our Earth revolve around their common center of gravity. The point of their center of gravity, both our Mother Earth and grandfather sun, is inside grandfather sun. However, it's not at his center. So the crucial step here is to awaken to the fact of his gravitational power. Our Earth is one immense planet and is being whipped around grandfather sun by his power. Mm-hmm. This is something he is doing in every instant of every day. We are held by grandfather sun. If he released us, we would just simply sail off into space. Mm-hmm. To fully understand this, you must sit down and wait for the universe to enter. And when you do so, you will become aware that you live in a solar system as a family member. The solar system is part of your family. Cosmology is a wisdom tradition with its principal aim not being the gathering of facts, and figures. Is the aim of transformation of you, crafting of you. Cosmology aims at embedding you in the numinous dynamics of our solar system, because you are born out of the Earth community and its infinite creativity, delight, and adventure. Our natural state, your natural state, is intimacy with the encompassing community. So the words sometimes get me. Our natural genetic inheritance presents us with the possibility of forming deeply bonded relationships throughout all 10 million or more species of life, as well as throughout the components deemed non-living. Any ultimate separation from this larger enveloping community family is impossible. So Copernicus's information was incomplete, as we now know that our grandfather sun is only one of trillions of stars in the universe, none of which is qualitatively different from all the rest. What is accurate about Copernicus's information is that grandfather sun is the center of the dynamics of our solar system. Our Earth and other planets are just wisps, silently sailing through a space suffused with our star's brightness. So grandfather, elder brother, sun, each second transforms 4 million tons of himself into light, every second of every day. So each second, a huge chunk of him vanishes into radiant energy that soars away in all directions. So grandfather, elder brother, sun is, with each second, giving of himself to become radiant energy that we, with every meal, receive. Aini. Ho, there's the Aini. We can't get away from it. So grandfather, elder brother, sun converts himself into a flow of energy that photosynthesis changes into plants that are eaten by animals. So for eons, we have been feasting on grandfather sun in the form of whatever we eat. It's time for all of us to understand that we are the energy of grandfather sun. His extravagant bestowal of energy can be regarded as a spectacular manifestation of an underlying impulse pervading the universe. In your human heart, in our human hearts, it is felt as the urge to fulfill our potential, devoting our life to the well-being of the larger community, not just my family, not just only those related to me, but the larger community of all, including our whole solar system. If you burn brightly today, it is only because this same energy was burning brightly as grandfather sun a month ago. Even as you receive a single breath, your energy dissipates and you wish to replenish all over again by his gift of fire. Grandfather sun's story will find its climax in a story from the human family of us men and women whose life manifests the same generosity. We are starting the practice of admiring ourselves and each other for pouring out our creative energies so that others might live through crafting our world. Your human generosity is possible only because at the center of your solar system, a magnificent stellar generosity pours forth free energy every day and night without stop, without complaint, without the slightest hesitation. This is the way of the universe. This is the way of the God, the goddesses, the primal old powers. This is the way of life, the old essences. And I'm stressing this word because with COVID, essential worker was a thing, right? This is a way in which each of us now joins this cosmological lineage when we accept our grandfather sun's gift of energy and transform it into creative action that will enable our community to flourish. So when you understand this, you now begin each day inside the simple truth. Your gorgeous living earth drifts light as a feather around the great roaring generosity of grandfather sun. Wow. So at nighttime, go outside, lie on your back, and behold the path of milky light that runs from one horizon through the great vault of the heavens all the way to the opposite side of the world. This is Milky Way. As you lie on your back, mesmerized, know that none of your ancestors could experience her as you do today. because we now know that this trail of milky light comes from the 300 billion stars that Milky Way sang into life with Ishmukane, Nukua, Amara, and Lightning Man, Whirlwind Man. We see these stars only as a soft band of light because of the large scale shape of our galaxy. Milky Way can sometimes be compared to a pancake that has a bulge at the center. Another image is of a gigantic manta ray. A manta ray is a fish with flattened body, a slight bulge at the center, and two great dark wings for propelling itself through the oceans. The advantage of this image is that the manta ray reminds us that Milky Way is not sitting on anything. She is simply gliding, dancing, and singing through the dark universe, just as the manta ray soars weightlessly through the seas. So our Earth is about 2/3 of the way out from the thick center of Milky Way, from the pupil of her eye. That basically would be it, what it is. And inside one of her large, thin wings. So as you lie on your back looking at Milky Way, notice the implicit assumption framing your experience as that of looking up at the stars. So how do you orient yourself now that you know that your round Earth is sailing around Grandfather Sun and that he is a star similar to 300 billion other stars in Milky Way, and that the idea of up has nothing to do with the dynamics of Milky Way as she spins her stars in their great orbits? So now imagine yourself peering down into the great chasm of the night sky. You might enter quickly into a new experience and feel as though you might be falling into the stars, but of course you won't, because Mother Earth's gravitational power holds you, and you feel the strength of this bond in the pressure felt in your shoulders and along your back, buttocks, and legs. So we normally think of this pressure as coming from our weight. However, in a strictly scientific sense, no being has any intrinsic weight. Let me say that again. You do not have any intrinsic weight. No human body has any intrinsic weight. No animal body has any intrinsic weight. Rather, all of our bodies are capable of entering into gravitational interactions. Aini! Ho ho! We cannot get away from Aini no matter which way we turn. It's always there. And for us, the dominant gravitational Aini interaction we experience is with Mother Earth. So now we've entered a relationship from the galactic. We started with the beyond the galactic. Now we've entered the galactic perspective. And the Milky Way path. The Milky Way has the power, the three powers of Ishmukane, Nukua, and Amara, along with Whirlwind Man and Lightning Man. So the destiny of our Earth, Grandfather Sun, the planets, and your body is controlled by Milky Way sweeping through the night sky. She is whipping our entire solar system around the outer edge of her at the speed of 180 miles per second. If you could lift a ton of bricks and toss them a few feet, you'd be on every TV screen around the world. But yet our Earth is 1 billion trillion times more massive than a ton of bricks, and Grandfather Sun is 1 million times huger than the Earth. And all of that is more than just lifted up and tossed a few feet, but it is being flung and has been flung 180 miles each second of every day and all night, all year long, since Milky Way and our solar system came to life. So now that you know this, you can wake up every morning in an enchanted world in which you are a family with a role to play and speak to our children about the ultimate things of creation.
Wow. May this bring consciousness into our matter, into our existence. May this wake up the love and understanding that everything is alive and conscious, and that giving and having meaning to is crucial in understanding how it works, because I think of my friend who's very smart, but I fear he has this because, you know, he's surrounded by, he has always been, he never went to school. I mean, he's a genius. He's like really smart. And, you know, he lives in his mud house, harvests water, you know, he's kind of somehow self-sustainable. But he's surrounded by people that's like, he calls hippies, right? Oh, I hate hippies. and he sees hippies. They go and they do a ritual, and they do singing, and they have all this stuff that he sees as beliefs, right? And he's like, he hates it. He doesn't want to participate in any of those ceremonies that everybody's doing, because he sees the incongruence that those people have, right? And he's like, and he's shocked by so many things, like for example, these Krishna people, or these people that do these silence meditations, or gatherings, or retreats, where there's like, it's pretty famous. They go out and they have like a 1 week silence,
Yeah.
right? They gather to be in silence, and he's like, well, we don't even know how to be together yet. We're so fragmented. We don't even have the skill to be together in the community, to, you know, to understand each other. Everybody's in their own trip, right? And y'all gather to be in silence. Let's learn how to communicate first. Let's learn how to live on the land first. And so I, you know, I understand him when he kind of has this tendency to fall into some type of weird mechanicism, right? Where because he sees the incongruence in all the spirituality everybody else is practicing, right?
Yeah.
But then I would show this to him and say, hey, look, you can't live without meaning, and nothing is dead. Everything is a living entity that just by consciousness is bringing all this together. There is no mechanical, chemical, like, that's not the law of everything. It's a part of that.
Right.
Right.
It's yeah, absolutely. There are chemical pieces of our bodies that our bodies wouldn't function without the chemical pieces. But as we learn from embryology, the ultimate underlying is the fields. The
Right.
fields. The fields.
And the fields have to do with mind, and the mind has to do with
well, the fields. The fields
something
are
that is not.
ishmukane.
I mean, even I went into mathematics, right? And there's these you know, we're used to arithmetics, like there's like math that has an axiom 0, or you know, math that makes sense. But for example, there's so many math problems that really don't. I mean, there's like ponderings of math where even like math doesn't solve those problems.
Yeah. No.
Right. Like the infinite. If you have a perimeter of a coast, right? If you measure that perimeter is relevant, is relative to how many of the little itty tiny curves you measure, or you consider in your measurement. So if you zoom in into like the coast, you'll see like there's even more little coasts, and that's kind of infinite. So you can have an infinite perimeter measurement. So there's so many things that even math doesn't really explain completely, right? And then there's all this linguistical, poetical, mythical, symbolical, geometrical. There's so many other languages that come together and give us somehow this cosmology. A cosmology that's not a mechanicistic cosmology, which is just what you have taught us here. You've just given us a big lesson on a real cosmology, a cosmology that is not just there to know facts, like you said, about the planets and the stars and everything, but it actually gives meaning and purpose to why are we here, and lets us know that we are the purpose and we are the meaning, and that we are in interaction with that, so that we, you know, we're not just all predetermined things, that we actually, there's magic. That's the thing. There's magic. Yeah. Magic is real.
It is. That's the realm of the magus, magical magus, right? It's magic. Magic is very real, but we tend to think of it as something that is done through witchcraft, and that's evil and whatever other names. But as I mentioned, as I started with, right, it's a tripartite process. The fields of that we can call ishmukane instead of a bean. Spider woman is a apt term because of how a spider spins its webs, throwing out the rays, the lines of power, the lines of essence that fill us all. But you know, there's a ritual, the singing, the dancing, the magical, the transformative, because the singing and the dancing produce magic. Transformative and enduring, because it's all living. It's all a weaving.
Yeah, and you're weaving something that to me is real, is congruent, is it's escaping this thing, this tendency that everything else had of falling into fanatism, into being fanatic thing, right? Into like,
yeah,
all that matters is defending blindly a belief. No, what matters is knowing. What matters is being part of the knowing, not having somebody do the knowing for you and you just follow him and believe him and defend him, because then you'll,
right.
What if he's wrong? And you're going to be wrong as well. So
well, I would say, what if there's a great part that's erroneous, infactual, and incomplete, right? Then you're not getting a whole picture,
right?
And that's what the case is by following just one line of teaching, one dogma, so to speak, is that the dogma you're following might have started as a factual and complete, but it is now, due to the fact that we are always being and becoming, it is now erroneous, incomplete, and inaccurate.
Yeah. So this is kind of the science, the knowledge of knowing the whole, what Mark Tassi called the arcana, the large arcana. You know, the knowledge of the complete, which is a crucial thing to have in order to kind of guide us, really give us like a direction into sailing towards something we want to achieve, which is love, which is harmony, which is balance, which is coming back into balance with Mother Earth. If we don't have that wholeness, then we're not going to be able to sail anywhere, which is what happens to so many projects that they avoid the wholeness thing because they associate it with oh, that's religion, oh, that's that's, and they try to keep
Well,
things, their projects in this kind of materialistic realm. All that matters is
the
doing the
avatar,
community.
the
You know,
avatar, the avatar, the avatar of what little piece of fragmentation can I service? What little piece of fragmentation can I service with the avatar? That's what it's all about. That's why nobody can sail anywhere.
right.
Because we're not fragment. We like to fragment ourselves, but we're not fragmented. Our innate nature, our innate state of being is whole, complete, perfect in every moment.
Yeah, imagine that. And that's not what we've been told. So it's a complex process of getting out of that fragmentation. And for that, let me say that that's why you have created the matriculation halal, which is this opportunity for people to come. And it's not an online thing. It's not something you can read. It's a complete thing. You interact with.
We must physically craft our world. We must physically craft our world.
There you go.
Through the inward line of our heart.
So there's no fragmented way of doing this, of learning this. You have to just be part of it, which I think would be what somebody would expect, congruence. So that's what matriculation halal is. And if somebody would be or is interested in being part of that, they can go ahead and check it out in the website. Let me say the address, Aloha IneedDaoLiving.com. Aloha and Ine only with one A. Aloha Ine Dao TAO Living.com. And there you'll find it in to where you sign up and go from there. Meanwhile, we're gonna be meeting with you every week, sharing these beautiful teachings and readings and words and stories and songs that Sacred Blue Heron Woman prepares for us. And I think we're going to continue with the science of being and becoming, right?
Yes, we're going to continue a little bit further down the creation pathway next week. And since we'll be coming to the full moon, we're also going to share a message from God, or Ishmukane, Nukua, Amara, Whirlwind Man, Lightning Man. That's congruent with the full moon, with Grandmother Moon in her fullness. So there's one other piece. We started a new calendar on the 24th of February.
Okay.
We see, and we're every news piece, everything right now is pointing us to look at Venus and Jupiter together because they're conjuncting again in the sky, in the evening sky, since she is in her evening star phase.
Mm-hmm.
This happens once a year, so you might think, well, what the hell? We're not in a new. Well, yes, we are, because due to the fact that she weaves a lotus flower around us every 8 years, and Jupiter weaves his flower around us every 12 years. They intersect once a year. However, their intersections, their conjunctions, have a similarity pattern every 24 years. And the last time they conjuncted like this was February 23, 1999.
Okay.
So on February 23, 2023, we just closed a 24-year cycle of Venus and Jupiter. In 24, we opened a new one.
Okay.
A new 24-year calendar.
Wow. So
we're bringing this. Let's just added a new calendar. I've told you I'm keeping many calendars. It takes me 45 minutes every morning to keep these calendars.
Yeah. That's a beautiful powerful, powerful work.
It is, because it gives me an idea into these whirling spindles, right, of that are weaving us, that come through from the power, from the essences of Ishmukene, Nukua, and Amara, with Lightning Man and Whirlwind Man, because they're ever present. Lightning Man and Whirlwind Man are ever present. We cannot get rid of them.
And who would they be? Whirlwind Man and Lightning Man.
Hurricanes, tornadoes,
Okay.
lightning.
Okay.
But they start way out there. Yeah. Lightning and whirlwinds are not just a phenomena of our magnetosphere. They start way out there.
They're everywhere. Yeah,
they're everywhere.
Pattern of. I was thinking, having the image that you're keeping an eye on the movement, and I was remembering that if you move around physically and you close your eyes, you get more dizzy. So, if anybody's dizzy right now, what they need to do is open up their eyes and start looking at the time and start keeping track of the cycles and learning about the cycles and learning about the stars and learning about all of this, because that's the way you don't get dizzy.
Yeah, exactly. So all of these cycles, so like we just started 24-year cycle, Saturn, Jupiter are 20-year cycles. Jupiter, Neptune is 13, and we can go Saturn, Pluto are 33-year cycles. So all of these cycles are swirling and whirling together in these matrices of life, these matrices of unfolding and folding, the wrinkling and the birthing and the of Ishmukene, Nukua, and Amara. And then it comes smaller. Every piece comes smaller and smaller, from Jupiter, Neptune, Jupiter, Pluto, Jupiter, Chiron being 13-year cycles to Mercury and Venus being 2,000-day cycles. And then we have grandfather, elder brother, son, who's a 1-year cycle, along with grandmother moon, who reduces it to a 1-month cycle. So we have all these bigger cycles coming down into 1 month. So, but then we don't understand that these monthly cycles, these yearly cycles, radiate up into the larger whole also.
Right.
So next week we'll go further down a little bit into creation cosmology. And then we'll talk about some messages from the field, from the old ones of essential nurturing Munai, essential nurturing peace, and essential nurturing pleasure.
Okay. Well, sounds like a wonderful plan and a loving invitation for anyone watching. And with all that being said, I think we can gracefully end this conversation.
Yeah.
Thank you all for watching, and sending you lots of love. Please join us next week, and please open up your eyes. And see you next time when we close it.
Yeah.